Call of Duty has been well documented on my YouTube channel, guys, as pretty much one of my favorite franchises of all time. And look, I absolutely love this franchise, and I think that it's going in a great direction right now after the dark ages of Call of Duty, which I called, the jetpack era of COD, that being Advanced Warfare and Black Ops 3 and Infinite Warfare. I thought that we were in a real lull in the franchise, but man, I absolutely love the direction the franchise is going at this point. There's been a lot of peaks and some valleys as well, more so peaks than anything in the Call of Duty franchise. But one of those sub-series of Call of Duty that I want to, continue talking about is Call of Duty Ghosts 2. I've talked about it here on the YouTube channel a number of different times, and if you guys want to check out those videos, you absolutely can. But I want to talk about Call of Duty Ghosts and Ghosts 2 and everything that we would want in this sub-series of Call of Duty. Look, it looks at this point, guys, that Call of Duty, that being like Activision, has moved in this direction that they are kind of maybe going back and forth between, Call of Duty Black Ops and Call of Duty Modern Warfare, those two sub-series, because they're probably the most popular. Infinity Ward were the ones who, of course, developed Call of Duty Ghosts, and I can easily say that sure, the multiplayer wasn't, the best in Call of Duty Ghosts, but it had some really interesting concepts, some interesting maps as well. But the story mode, especially with Call of Duty Ghosts, was very good, and I think left us on a significant cliffhanger that deserves to be explored further. I would also say that Extinction was actually my favorite, one of my favorite co-op modes out there. I enjoyed Extinction much more than I liked Zombies, and I know Zombies is very popular. There's a huge Zombies community, and I don't want to take anything away from that, but just me personally, I loved Extinction. I loved the concept of being able to actually beat Extinction, and I thought that it was very different, and I would love for that to be explored more. So everything that we want, guys, and when I say we, I'm saying that myself mainly, because I'm the only one really giving my opinion here, but I also want to hear your guys' opinion in the comment section below, and I know some of you are going to agree with some of the things that I would like to see in Call of Duty Ghosts 2, and you'll probably disagree on some of this stuff as well. So let's just get right into this thing, guys. Number one, when it comes to Call of Duty Ghosts 2, the first thing that I want to see is a continuation, more so a direct continuation of Call of Duty Ghosts single-player story. And guys, talk about the cliffhanger at the end of Call of Duty Ghosts. If you have not played the Call of Duty Ghosts campaign or the single-player story, it's one of the best in all of Call of Duty, in my personal opinion. It was that good, guys. It was a very good, it's an uncherished, an underappreciated campaign within this franchise, and I think it was one of the best. Now, I'm not going to say it was the best, right? Probably not quite of on the level, the prestige of, Modern Warfare or even some of the Black Ops titles, but it was certainly very unique for what it was. Definitely better than like Advanced Warfare, in my opinion, better than, World at War, World War II. As far as those story modes are concerned, I think it was very unique for what it was. It had some very interesting, concepts, like I said, in it, and I would love to see a continuation of the single-player story. I mean, I wouldn't mind a direct continuation. I don't, it's something that was such a huge cliffhanger, which I kind of wish they didn't necessarily do, even because, obviously, if they would have maybe, like, closed things off, then it would have felt like, oh, okay, that's fine. It's supposed to be its own thing. Kind of like Advanced Warfare. At the end of Advanced Warfare, they kind of ended it, and it was like, yeah, this was supposed to be its own, just its own story. It wasn't necessarily maybe going to be another Advanced Warfare game. In Call of Duty Ghosts, though, it felt like they were preparing to make multiple Ghosts games. And so I think that, guys, there's definitely a potential that Call of Duty Ghosts will come back, by the way, at some point or another. Maybe not for the very near, foreseeable future, but I'm hoping that it comes in one way, shape, or form in the future. So That's number one. Number two, guys, the multiplayer. Some of the concepts were interesting. You know, and like I said, some of the maps, I loved some of the maps. I think my favorite was Strike Down. That was, you know, the maps I think need to have a little bit better, you know, variety, but because it was like, you know, you can tell with each Call of Duty the different, you know, the different effects that they use and such when we're talking about, you know, the colors and such. You know, sometimes like with the Black Ops titles, they're very bright and colorful. Then when you're looking at Infinity Ward, you know, their titles, like in Modern Warfare, it's a little bit more grainy or just gritty, sandy, you know, kind of more of that type of look and rustic. And so that's kind of what we got from Ghosts. And I like that concept, but maybe if they could kind of bring it a little bit, you know, making the colors a little bit more brighter, and of course they could certainly do that, you know, with the, you know, how graphics and such have improved over time, especially on the next generation of consoles as well. So there's that. I would love the multiplayer to have a little more variety with maps, hopefully some more memorable maps. And I know it's kind of one of those things, bringing back old maps, I get it. I understand it 100%, but I like the idea of being creative and continuing to create, you know, really other new maps as well, and bringing in some classics as well, like Strike Down. But I would love to see that as well at some point or another with Call of Duty Ghosts 2. The other things, guys, is Extinction. Extinction, guys, I think is so underrated, it's unbelievable. I thought that this game overall is underrated. It's just an underrated Call of Duty in my personal opinion. I thought that Ghosts had a, you know, some very interesting concepts, very ambitious concepts. Extinction, I personally liked more than Zombies to this day. Zombies has gotten better over time, in my opinion, but I still think that Extinction was just really cool. I love the concept of being able to beat it. And I liked the idea of aliens over zombies. I just liked how it was just like a change, and I loved that. And so I hope Extinction, I would love to see an Extinction 2.0 in Call of Duty Ghosts 2. And look, other modes, that being like, you know, kind of like Spec Ops and other co-op modes, I think are great. Having multiple ways that you can connect with the franchise is extremely important. Call of Duty's done an incredible job of doing this. When we look back at Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the soft reboot of that franchise, you know, you look at an incredible single-player experience. I believe the single-handedly best single-player experience ever made in Call of Duty up to this point, in that of Call of Duty Modern Warfare. And then on top of that, you had Warzone that comes out later on, the Battle Royale mode, which is one of the best Battle Royales, in my opinion, out there on the market. And then a multiplayer experience that I thought was incredible. Great multiplayer modes. You know, I love gunfight. I love just, you know, so many of the different modes. Being creative. I love that. Bringing back some of the old maps, I think that's awesome as well. And then you got Spec Ops, and Spec Ops is great as well. And so many ways that you can connect with Call of Duty. And we talk about on this YouTube channel, like just over and over again about full packages. If you're paying $60 for a game, you want something that you're going to have a ton of different ways that you can connect with that franchise. And I think that, you know, Call of Duty really hits it on, you know, perfectly. Now, Call of Duty Black Ops 4, which was one of my favorite CODs, the only thing that kind of holds it back is not having a campaign mode or a single-player story mode. It just didn't have that. It had, like, you know, it kind of replaced that with Blackout. Modern Warfare is like the perfect Call of Duty, in my opinion, because it merges all those worlds in one. And so I hope with Call of Duty Ghosts 2, when we see it, if we ever do, but which, by the way, guys, we don't have really any information, any further information of a Call of Duty Ghosts 2 at this point. I'll certainly keep you guys all up to speed as more information comes out about a Call of Duty Ghosts 2 if we start getting more hints at this being the next Call of Duty game. But I think that having a full package is incredibly important. Ghosts is, like I said, it's great concepts. It has some very ambitious concepts as well, similar like Extinction, and I think that they should continue that without a doubt. I think there would be something special there, and I think there's a lot of people out there that at least would like to test the waters. I think a lot of people would rather have another Ghost game than like another Advanced Warfare or another Infinite Warfare, for example. I think that they would want a sequel to Ghost before those, but I know that everyone has their own opinion on that. At least for me, I would take Ghost 2 all day, every day over Advanced Warfare 2 or Infinite Warfare 2. But that being said, guys, overall, I would just love to see a continuation, see where the story goes. I think they had really something special there. Infinity Ward does a great job, of course, at the story modes. I mean, they just do a fantastic job at the story modes. I think they kind of top even what, Treyarch does. Treyarch does an incredible job with the multiplayer as a whole. They're very good at that. But I think that as far as story is concerned, Infinity Ward takes the cake on that. But what do you guys want to see? What are the things that you would want in a Ghost 2 game, of course, within, sequel to the Call of Duty franchise? Would you want them to continue right where they left off, or would you want them to try something completely new, like a new IP for Call of Duty? Or would you want a prequel to Ghost, the first one, or would you, want to go be set far in the future, like after the events of Ghost 1? Let me know what you guys want in Call of Duty Ghost 2, and for more Call of Duty Ghost 2 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV.